So we're close enough to the big day when we're either asking or have been asked more than once. Y'all ready? Got everything done? And some would say, oh yeah, we all have those people in our life where they start Christmas shopping in July and they're done by Labor Day and it's wrapped by Thanksgiving and they sit back. But there's some gentle reminders in the scriptures and probably nice this year that we have a few days between this final Sunday of Advent and the feast itself. I was reminded of, I have a cousins who moved to Florida years ago, just around the time that their teenagers were getting ready to finish high school and go to college. When they moved to Florida, their oldest son had started at the U of I, so they dropped their firstborn off at college in Illinois as they continued their trip to their new home in Florida. And he realized he was going to rethink his decision when it came time for him to come home for Christmas in his first year of college, and he didn't really know where they lived. They had to tell him how to get to home. But over the years, as their family has grown and kids are all married and all have children, my wise cousin, whenever she was in a conversation with friends whose kids had gotten married and the conversation went toward, well, whose house are they going to? Or who are they going to be with this Christmas? And all the ways that, particularly us Southside Irish, have ways of accenting things and changing the ways we ask to kind of reveal who we are. And my wise cousin said, it's not a day, it's a season. And it doesn't all happen on one day, nor should it happen all on one day. We make the prep, figure out how many boards we need in the dining room table and how many extra tables we need in the family room, and are there enough dishes and all those things. Is everything on the list been purchased and wrapped? During this past year, we buried my older sister, whose great knack was she had a comfortably sized home, and one room in her basement was really like a mini gift shop. And if she suddenly got invited somewhere, she always had something. She just went downstairs and wrapped it, and there were bags and wrappings and all of those kinds of things. And any of us, and she would often grill me on Christmas Day about, who else was I visiting during the season, and did I need to bring them something? And, well, she always had something. She was more ready than any of us. But we read about these two women today in the gospel. Picture who they are: an elderly woman who's pregnant, a young woman not married and pregnant. No doubt they were both the subject of questions and comments and gossip and talk behind their back. And there they are, front and center in the story today, traveling from one town to another on Mary's part and the way the story is put together. And remember, stories like that they're not like news stories that we hear today, where, well, there's big events going on, and so we've got to follow the main characters everywhere they go, so we record every moment, and we get some sound bites and all of those kinds of things that our modern world would think of. But rather, they came to believe things about these two women. And they wrote stories that tell us what it was like, what they came to believe, and what the challenges were for them, the two women, and for the people around them to come to grips with what might be happening. So we hear the ancient scriptures again. They would come to the end of these powerfully beautiful scripture readings of the Advent season. In the Old Testament, the God of all peoples and all times, their God and our God, who knows us better than we'll ever know ourselves, speaks those prophetic words. No matter what you go through, I'll get you through it. No matter what your challenge is, no matter what the ease or difficulty of believing is, no matter what the comfort or discomfort of your life may be at different times, I've made promises that I will always keep. Sometimes when I'm keeping them, you'll know they're being kept. And there's other times when I'll be in the midst of keeping promises to you that you'll need a few more days or a few more weeks or a few more years of living in order to connect the dots to the promise made and the promises kept. And so society was set up for some powerful expectations. The one who can protect us from all craziness of politics, the one who can protect us from the crazy leadership of temples and local governments, surely is going to give us some wonderful coattails to ride into town on. And instead, the promise is getting kept wrapped in this story of scandal or unusual goings on. An infant? No. God must have got that one wrong. We need a king. We need somebody powerful. What are infants? The most right on cue, perfect timing. What are infants? Those who, when they need attention, they say, we need attention. They need caring for. We've all been in that moment, in a moment like that, with our own children. But to come to believe that a powerless infant could be the way the gift gets given, and right from the beginning, those that reflected on it knew that it would be unlike anything that had ever happened before. And it wouldn't be according to the script writing of us and our human storytelling, but rather in the narrative of God that we'd realize what's being done. And so it'll be Christmas this year. Christmas will happen on the 25th. Ready or not, in our time, our little piece of the world, or ready or not, in the moment that the world story is in, it'll be Christmas, but it won't just happen on the 25th. And our customs and traditions and rituals will celebrate it. But our celebrating of it serves its best purpose by awakening us to every moment, extraordinary and ordinary in our own lives, when God keeps the promise in the midst of whatever may be going on in our life. So we have that powerful Emmanuel word, the Advent word, the Christmas word. If you get a Christmas card this year with that word Emmanuel on, let that be the part of Christmas that you don't discard or pack away. Leave it somewhere in the front of a shelf, somewhere in your house, or an eye-level place, taped to a mirror. So in those moments that we live through in regular, ordinary times and seasons, when we can be led to even wondering if there is a God, let alone a God who wants to hang with us, we can see that word of Christmas. What's the promise of God? Never is it, hang with me and everything will be terrific for now and forever. When we get to where everything is terrific now and forever, we'll know we died and went to heaven, where everything's okay forever. But in the meantime, here we are with the story and the journey of our own lives. Days when the believing will come easy, and days when it'll be 1,000 miles away from possibility for us. That's when we need a gift of Christmas. A reminder of what God says on this day. You'll never go through anything alone. When you know I'm there and when you can't imagine me being there, I'll always have your back. You'll never cry alone or dance alone. I'll always be with you, and I'll always keep the promise. So probably the best gift we get and give at Christmas is the gift of our believing. It's the gift of church. What do we do when we come together here? There's no possibility that for every single one of us in this gym this morning, we are at a moment when the believing is just coming easy and couldn't be further away from us. There are those in our midst who are hoping we get through this first Christmas after a tough year. And there are those among us who are going to do, a good friend of mine's grandson came over to help Uncle Bill get some stuff out of the garage attic yesterday, and he shared with me that right after Christmas he's given his girlfriend the ring in the morning after Christmas. And all of us can, all the Christmas of our lives include all of those things. So let's have it be said for us to the extent that it can be said about us. The moment the sound of your greeting reached my ears, this baby in my womb leapt for joy. Blessed are you, my cousin Mary, who believed that what was promised to you by the Lord would be fulfilled. So as we go to the table of Thanksgiving today, let's allow ourselves to be aware maybe of two extremes in our life. We can all recall a moment and if somebody had said to us in advance, here's what you're going to go through, we'd say, no way. Couldn't imagine getting through that. We experience it, we get through it, and have some kind of experience says, there's got to be a God. Without a God, I couldn't imagine have gotten through what I just got through. We all have moments like that. We've had them, and we will. We're not dead yet, so this ain't heaven. We're people who believe that what God said, God would do. With the full stories of every one of our lives, that's a whole lot for us to come here today in the midst of the busyness, to come to this table and to give thanks.